This is Super Kelly Brothers. We normally do a podcast. We're not doing a podcast today. We're actually doing a top 10. And this time it's the turn of top 10. What are we doing, Jody?
Drumroll, trilogies.
Trilogies. The worst top 10, in my opinion. But that's only because I suck at picking them.
Well, that's only because you forgot one that I remembered. I won't bring it up again till later.
Yeah. So, do you want to flip a coin and see who goes first? I don't actually have a coin. Oh, no, I do have a coin. Heads or tails? There you go.
Heads.
Very scientific. It is, in fact, tails. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there you go. There you go. Tails.
That was Darth Vader there for a minute.
That's not Darth Vader. That is the Blue Nose. Very famous ship in Canada. And, of course, the other side...
Which means something totally different in Scotland.
It does, yes. Is Her Majesty.
Oh, there you
which
go.
is the heads. So I guess I'm going first then.
Well done.
As predicted by me.
Earlier on.
Yes. Okay, so I guess we'll start.
Well, see, before you do start, do you know what the first? Do you know what the first trilogy was?
Because
it's much debated.
I was going to try and be clever there, but I'm going to say Jaws.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Star Wars before Jaws.
No, Jaws was 1975. I think you better check your facts there, Jody.
Is it? Mm-hmm. All right, okay. Anyway, no. It's much debated and nobody really knows. But you could argue Charlie Chaplin, you know?
Abbott and Costello.
All those movies, yep.
Yeah.
You know, they all but by trilogy we are meaning, we know some of these have had 4 films or 5 films, but if as long as they've had a 3-film run.
They started off as being 3 films, but they might have added more films, which totally screwed over my idea, which was I was going to try and crowbar Fast and Furious in there. But apparently that's not allowed because that's actually a franchise, not a trilogy.
Wait a minute. They're not all franchises.
Yes, but these are franchises that lasted. They were like 3 and done, and then they might have decided at some point later that they were going to have a 4th movie. Like Star Wars is a good example. So Star Wars has the original trilogy. There's this prequel trilogy, and then there's the sequel trilogy.
They're the pure trilogies.
Yeah, but that's 9 movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
so
they're the purest of trilogies.
It's a trilogy of trilogies.
But they're the purest of trilogies because they do have 3 movies for each era.
Yes.
You know, they don't have 9 movies or Marvel. You couldn't put the Avengers Infinity Saga in, but they do have trilogies within them. You know?
There was 3 Avengers movies.
Yes. Anyway, let's not spoil things. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
We're running ahead of ourselves. Right. Okay.
Right, you go. Go for it.
All right. Okay. So what I've got is I have a list that I'm just trying to bring up because I put it in the back there. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna run it down from 10 to 1, and one is like the epitome for me of trilogy, like the most perfect trilogy out there, as far as I'm concerned.
So we're doing it in order.
I'm doing it. I don't know what you tend to not do it in order, but I'm going to do it in order.
I'll try and do it in order.
Okay, so for me, the first one is the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly trilogy. I don't know what the official name for it is, but it's the one with a few dollars more, a fistful of dollars, and the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Sergio Leone, Clint Eastwood, Man with No Name. I guess it's the Man with No Name trilogy. There you go. That series of movies.
Spaghetti westerns.
So spaghetti westerns, yeah, but not all spaghetti westerns, because like Django was a spaghetti western, but like this one, this trilogy here, that one, gringo, back stuff. Ennio Morricone, yeah, who later went on to have a fight with Quentin Tarantino. Yes, that guy, yeah. So called because it was an Italian guy directing an American in the Sierra Mountains in Spain. I don't know why, but that's where they were. So that's my 10, my 10th one. Okay.
You in the water?
What? I'm in the water, yeah. All right, number 9.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Yes.
Now this is the one where it starts to get a bit tricky for me because Aliens.
Well, I think this gets tricky as well because you're saying it's a great trilogy, but 3 is famously not. It's a bit ropey.
It is. I think it's the first big movie that Dave Fincher ever directed, though, and that in itself makes it special. That's my thought process behind it.
Was he involved in?
There was also a fourth one after this as well. It was Alien Resurrection.
Well, there's been
and then
many
of course
more.
there's the Prometheus ones and then the Covenant one.
Was there 4?
There was 4 in the original trilogy. There's 4 featuring Ripley, because the Resurrection one was the one with Winona Ryder and Ron.
And then there's been the versus Predators as well.
Yeah, I don't really
care. 2 of them,
I think. Yeah.
Oh, pretty good. Anyway.
Yeah.
What was I going to say there? Oh, David Fincher. He did something in Return of the Jedi as well. That was the first kind of gig he got.
Oh, did he?
I think so. I think that was his first.
Oh, is it like DP or something, or not DP? Like second assistant director or something.
Maybe assistant director, runner. Don't know. We're not good with facts, but anyway, I'm sure he was involved in there. Banter, yes. Facts, no. Slim.
Yes.
It's the only thing we're slim with.
Yeah. It was. I think what's good about the Alien trilogy though is the first one's an out and out horror movie. The second one's an out and out gung ho hoorah type thing, and then the third one is this slow paced psychological thriller. So you've got everything.
3 actually. I quite liked it.
I remember seeing 3 in the cinema. I was in Aberdeen, so I mean that's about as much entertainment as you're going to get is go to the cinema. Send letters to Jody at superkellybros.com and or emails if you want. But I didn't like it then, but I watched it since, and I prefer it a lot to 4. I think 4 is a bit of a rehash.
4 went weird.
Yeah.
4 was directed by the guy that directed the French director Jacques. I want to say Cousteau, but it was a French director. No,
that's
the guy directed Delicatessen.
Oh right,
Delicatessen and The Land of Lost Children, or whatever that movie was called. And he got that gig, and he's got the wee guy from Delicatessen in it and stuff, and it's a bit weird.
Yeah. And again, the problem, the reason why I said it is the trilogy thing is a bit of a problem is because you can't have 3 perfect movies. You can have a perfect trilogy, but you can't have 3 perfect movies in that. And I think that the next one sums that up quite nicely. Mad Max. Like the second one. The second one is where Max kind of like the first one's a bit long. I'm gonna call it the way I see it. It's a bit long. The second one, yeah, I always find that the first one the pacing was a bit off. The second one I really liked, and then the third one was just
overblown.
Yeah, it was like Max got famous.
Hollywood.
Yeah, the money came in.
Yeah,
the budget got bigger. Yeah. Like it was good when they were going about on these Ford Falcons and like just tearing up the Australian.
I think as well it changed, didn't it? From the kind of low budget. Obviously, it was a low budget. You couldn't help that, but to something more the proper apocalyptic, nonsense that we,
I mean,
Fury Road one kind of played more in that, I would say, than the original.
Oh yeah, Yeah, I mean,
You know,
Fury Road was the big blockbuster, explosions everywhere, looked amazing. Again, I thought the pacing was off on Fury Road. I know a lot of people really, really like Fury Road,
it's
and
just a chase movie.
it, it, it's just a chase movie, and I mean the acting's good in it, but I don't know. It's the same reason I don't like the third one of Mad Max is because Max isn't really in it that much. It's not really his story. Like it's in Fury Road, it's Furiosa's story, and in the third one, it's really all about the kids of the Thunderdome or whatever the hell I can't even remember what it's about. So yeah, um, for me
I think for me as well, I've got a couple of trilogies here that are a bit like that as well.
mhm.
There's one
I
weak movie, but
yeah,
overall, you
yeah.
know,
I mean the next one though, so this is number 6 in the list,
is it
is Lethal Weapon.
6 already?
Um, yeah, and it's 6. Lethal Weapon. So we're gonna move into
You
the
not missed one. All right,
no Mad Max. No, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Aliens, Rush Hour. Oh
all
no, I
right,
mentioned
sorry.
Rush Hour. Sorry,
I thought that.
damn it. Right, forget the thing I said about Mad Max. Right. No, actually, no. Just leave Mad Max where it is. It's fine. I'll correct it in the. Forget it.
This one's messed up.
I've messed up already. Oh man, Rush Hour. Now that is a fun trilogy. The movies aren't particularly great. I'm gonna say it straight off the bat. They're not particularly great, but it is so good to
Popcorn.
see those characters in action. Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan just kind of hamming it up. Even the
I'll
outtakes are
be
very
honest
kind
with
of
you.
reminiscent of the old Cannonball Run, which is Charlie Chan got his big Western break in. Was the Cannonball Run?
Charlie Chan.
Not Charlie Chan, Jackie Chan. I said Jackie Chan to start with as well. My God, I'm so tired.
Can I just say that Sloane's just finished
A
working
shift, yeah.
from home,
And my brain's a
so
bit
his brain's
fried.
melted. I didn't even realise there was 3 movies in that. I would,
Yeah,
I
there's.
enjoyed the first one,
Mhm.
but no.
I think these are. So this is along
I
the
think probably
idea.
that's probably the one you're going to kick yourself most about because of the one I've got in mind.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But then,
I think
sorry, I won't bring it up again.
that's fine. I think for me, the sort of purest of trilogies is when you don't even name the movies. It's just Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2, and Rush Hour 3. Like that's you're not getting anything else. It's the
And
same
you
story.
will. Do you know what it is? Even the bad ones, and within the trilogy, still have good moments in it, and it's the same
Yeah.
characters. So you love the characters, so you
So,
forgive a lot of things.
to be honest, I don't think I've ever thought that there's been a bad Rush Hour movie because I know exactly what I'm going to get out of it. I know that it's going to be, a lot of martial arty type stuff, and then Chris Tucker coming in and going, "Hey, come and do this," and I know I'm going to get that. That's fine. I'm okay with
Please
that.
don't tell me you've got bad boys in here. Oh God.
Okay. So after Mad Max is another Mel Gibson trilogy. Sort of trilogy. He did a fourth one as well, but never mind. Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3. My favorite in Lethal Weapon series is Jody. Can you have a guess?
Well, mine's 1.
Oh, is it? Well, mine's 2.
Patsy Kensit.
No, Leo Getz. He's in it. He's awesome.
No, of course.
Joe
Aye,
Pesci.
aye, aye. Okay, right.
Yeah, my man Joe.
Aye, two is good actually. Joe
Two's
Pesci.
really good,
Aye.
especially the bit where they go to the drive-through. It's
Yeah.
hilarious, that scene.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, again, I can't fault any of those movies. And again, it's typical 80s trilogy. It's Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2, and Lethal Weapon 3. You're not getting
Mm,
any extra titles. It's not like,
mm.
there's no thought in it. It's just 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
He's in
um,
3 as well, isn't he? Joe Pesci.
I think he's in 4 as well. Might be wrong.
4.
Yeah.
Wiped that out
Chris,
of my
I
mind.
think Chris Rock's in it. 4,
probably.
I think. Actually, Chris Tucker's in one of them. Actually, Chris Tucker might be in the 4th one, and Chris Rock's in the 3rd one, or the other way around. One of the two. I can't remember. I can't remember the plots of those 2 movies at the end there. Anyway, top 5. Toy Story. Classic buddy comedy, but they decided they're going to make them CGI. So they've got a cowboy played by Tom Hanks and a spaceman played by Tim the Toolman Taylor himself, Tim Allen. Hilarity ensues. Great stuff.
Chris Rock was in number 4.
Oh, he was, okay, right. Is Chris Tucker in the 3rd one then? I'm sure Chris Tucker was in one of them as well. I know Chris Rock was in one, but I know that Chris Tucker was in another one, I think. No, was he maybe? Oh wait, no, was he maybe one of the cops? I think he may have been one of the cops, like uniformed officers. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Number
I think
5.
Weapon 5's coming out.
Is it?
Mm.
When's that coming out? Is it Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
Because they did a TV show recently, as a vehicle for Damon Wayans, I think it was, and he played Roger Murtaugh, and it was quite good. It was okay. Anyway, number 5, Toy Story.
Anyway, sorry.
Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. The 4th one's the best one in the trilogy.
Yeah,
I liked it. It was a good. It was a
I
fitting
did like
end
it.
to it. It was a
I did
fitting
like
end
it.
to the
I thought the
saga.
third one was a fitting end. I thought the third one was a fitting end, and it's usual Disney going, "Oh, we can squeeze some more money out of this." No,
yeah, I know, absolutely. That's exactly what they thought. It's the same reason why there's a 7th season of the Clone Wars. There's no need to have a 7th season. We capped it off already in the 6th season. Just saying.
Well, there was a third. The third Toy Story did cap it off, and kind of the toys were passed on to the wee girl and all that. Spoilers.
Yep.
And then they decided to resurrect them. I mean, I suppose there's always story there, but it was a perfect trilogy.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I thought the ending of 4 was good because it left it open enough that they could reopen the story if the toy box if they wanted, or they could just let it go.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think, if you go further than 3, then you're pushing it. You're just pushing it too far. And a lot of people thought that with 4, but they got away with it.
I really liked 4. I thought the addition of Tony Hale's character, Forky, was amazing. I did not want to like that character.
Yeah, I know.
And then as soon as he opened his mouth, I was like, "This is the best character in Toy Story ever."
They do know how to do a new character or whatever, or to inanimate object interesting or funny, or
Although it has to be said, not all of Disney knows how to do that. Lucasfilm, for example, is terrible at doing it because they introduce far too many characters in Rise of Skywalker for my liking. They were introducing characters towards like the denouement of Rise of Skywalker. It's like, who are these people? Anyway,
you can't even say it's Star Wars figures because there's been none virtually for that movie.
Oh, really?
Which is bizarre.
That's because not even Kenner wants
virtually
to touch
none. Yeah, really bizarre.
Talking to Star Wars, the original trilogy is in at number 4. Starting with 4, 5, and then 6. Yeah,
Crikey.
4. Crikey. Okay, as much as I like Star Wars, and I like Star Wars. In fact, look, see, I've got bobbleheads of Star Wars. Look, I've got little Darth Vader here, and I've got little Han Solo, and I've got this Mandalorian guy over here, and I know he's Boba Fett. don't send letters in. If you do, it's Jody@superkellybros.com. But
I've
the
got a
reason why
droid
it's
here.
do you?
Donk, 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 donk. Not really.
I really like Star Wars. However, it is not the perfect trilogy for me. It just
how dare you?
It isn't. There's bits in Star Wars that I fast forward through. I'm
What?
telling you right now,
Oh
there's
God.
bits in it. Yeah, like the
Oh
whole.
God, Sloan, you're not doing yourself any favors.
What? I'm speaking from the heart. Like the bit where the bit at the start of Star Wars. Star Wars for me starts where Alec Guinness says, "Hello, little one." I'm calling it right now. That's like 25 minutes into the movie. Don't put your head in your hand. Anyway,
I'm not the only one.
however, I don't fast forward through any bits in Empire Strikes Back because as I've grown up, I've realized that that is actually the perfect Star Wars movie, and I'm not a child
Okay.
anymore. However, I did watch Return of the Jedi recently. That's not good. I
It's
mean,
the
it's
weakest.
essentially a rehash of the
Still good
first one.
though. Of course.
Like he kind of ran out of ideas, and he's like, "Oh, just do the first one again."
Kinda. I think you're getting
Um,
mixed up with J.J. Abrams.
no, I'm definitely not. He's nowhere near this top 10. Um, oh, that was
Not
loud.
even with Star Trek.
Shove it with your Star Trek. That's not Star Trek. That's Action Trek.
Mm.
I don't agree with that Star Trek. Anyway, I don't agree with the direction of, and I know the next guy I'm going to talk about was involved in it, but anyway, so yeah, what can I say about Star Wars? Everyone knows who Star Wars is. If you've listened to this podcast or watched any of our videos, then you know that we do like Star Wars.
We love it.
Next one, though, Indiana Jones. That's right, I put Indiana Jones above Star Wars. For me, I can sit and I can rewatch Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade until the cows come home. I think those two are fantastic movies. The second one, not so
Too much
much.
screaming.
Too much screaming.
We
Too
loved the
much.
second one when we were kids, though.
Yeah,
But
but it's
but
just.
I know now. I've watched all of them loads of times,
Yeah.
and the second one for me is the weakest, definitely. Raiders for me is probably one of the most perfect films ever made.
Yes. Yeah.
Last Crusade's a fun romp, but altogether they make an almost perfect trilogy. It's
Yes.
Loctite.
Almost perfect trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is, but Indiana Jones is just the most iconic. For me, is the most iconic cinema character in the world with his fedora and the whip and his 6-shooter and his little satchel.
Yeah.
Just amazing. I mean, it's a costume that anyone can. I've gone as Indiana Jones for Halloween. It's a costume that anyone can make. It's not difficult to do.
Yep.
It is kind of funny when you walk into a party and folk go, "Who are you supposed to be?" Because everyone's dressed as Vikings and Goths and stuff like that. And you got Indiana Jones. And I don't know, I heard of him.
And it's not a costume party.
And it's not a costume party, and
yeah.
it's a bank. But yeah,
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Anyway,
It's where are you going from here, by the way? You've had Star Wars, Indiana Jones. This is uncharted territory. Right, okay, go for it.
Number 2, the second best trilogy, according to me, the Cornetto trilogy, or the Ice Cream trilogy, or Ice Cream and Blood trilogy, whatever you want to call it.
Cornetto.
It's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem I have with this one is the third one.
Yep.
The third one is not good.
No, it's not.
However,
it's okay.
It's not good. It's
No.
not good because, and I'll tell you why. Because in the previous two trilogies, or the previous two parts of the trilogy, the reason why it's called the Ice Cream trilogy is because in every single one of them there is there's a bit in it where they go to a shop and they buy a cornetto, So in the first one, he gets a strawberry cornetto, which is red, which is for blood, because that's Shaun of the Dead. The second one, he gets a blue cornetto, which is mint, I think, or something like that. I can't remember what it is. But it represents the thin blue line, the police force. And then the third one, he gets a green cornetto, which is alien stuff.
I didn't
That's
know
the reason.
that.
There you go. That's how much I love this trilogy. I read everything about it. So the problem I got with it, though, is that in the first two, he plays likable characters. In the third one, he does not play a likable character.
Yeah,
he's not good at it.
Yeah.
He's just not good at it, and it doesn't. I think everybody just goes, and they just turn off. It's not a nice thing. And it's not even that he redeems himself at the end. He's still just an unlikable character.
Yeah, but he's not a full-on arsehole. He's just a kind of
no, but he's just this kind of
semi arsehole.
Like he's never grown up, and he's never become an adult. And you gotta become an adult in a little bit. You gotta realize that you can't live like that all the time. But yeah, Shaun of the Dead is perfect. I watched that and Hot Fuzz on alarming regularity. It's not on all the
Those
time.
Those two movies are virgin and perfect, I would say as well.
Yeah, I mean, Hot Fuzz is basically a remake of The Wicker Man. In fact, they even have Edward Woodward in it.
It's that vibe. It's not a total remake, but
it's not a total remake. Yeah.
Midsummer is a remake
of Hot Fuzz.
No, of Wicker Man.
Oh, right, okay. Did they make it for the greater good?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the second one's amazing because it's Jim Broadbent's in it. What's his name? Plays Sissy Skinner. Timothy Dalton. He's in it. Edward Woodward's in it. The bad guy from Lethal Weapon 4's in it. Lethal Weapon 3 is in it. Belloc's in it as well. The guy that plays Belloc from Indiana Jones. So yeah, it's a great trilogy. If you've never seen it, what are you doing in your life? So that's number 2. And for me, the best trilogy ever, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I can say that with a straight face, hand on heart. I love those movies. All 3 of them. I know the third one is not as good as the other 2, but it's still a great movie. The second one, where they don't rehash it. They basically retread their steps back in 1950.
Second one is so clever.
Second one is so
clever.
What the hell's going on here? I know that they poo-poo it in Avengers Endgame Part 2 or whatever it's called, the Infinity Gauntlet Stone of Destiny. But the second part is just amazing. Like the whole going forward in time, back in time, then back in time, and amazing. And in the alternative future where Biff is this crazy Trumpian mayor of Hill Valley, so good. Yeah, Back to the Future, and Chris Lloyd is amazing as Doc Brown. Anytime you go to Universal Studios in Florida, there's always a guy wandering around pretending to be Doc Brown. And I don't know what they must take them to like Doc Brown school or something, but they know everything there is to know about Back to the Future, and the guy speaks exactly like Doc Brown. So you've got to interact with these guys because it's totally amazing. Bit of a fan. But yeah, that's what I would say is the number 1 trilogy for me is Back to the Future.
So is that in the Universal Studios?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Florida, I've had my picture taken a couple of times with the guys. Dude, it's about the good ones, not the. There's some ones that don't look like Doc Brown, but there's a few that look and sound like Doc Brown. And he's always like polishing his deodorant or something, or working in his train or whatever. It's good.
Polishing his train.
Polishing his deodorant, his DeLorean.
His locomotive.
His locomotive, yeah. He likes it when he gets a bit of a.
Sounds like a euphemism,
steam,
but it's not.
It's good head of steam.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my top 10. What about you? You can't top that, surely.
I can.
You're not going to do it.
I've not got them in any order, as you know. I don't really do normal.
No, you don't do orders.
I've got number 10.
Yeah.
I've got Evil Dead, a
Oh yeah. Okay.
horror trilogy.
Yeah. That's a good
Sam
one.
Raimi.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I first saw Evil Dead, I was completely blown away by how original it was.
Mm-hmm.
And most scary movies are just kind of, shockers or teenage, well, his starts off as a teenager thing in the woods, in the cabin in the woods thing, but it goes so much further than that. And then by 3, the Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness is
By
so
that
good. Yeah.
one, it's like so fantasy. It's like
Yeah.
off the scale. It's
Yeah.
like all 3 movies are actually brilliant.
You know the Necronomicon, the chant, the sort of incantation they used is Klaatu Baratu Nectu,
Yeah,
whatever it is, which is from the
aye,
day the Earth stood still.
yes, that's right. Fact fans.
And he gets his hand cut off, and he puts the chainsaw on it, and he's got his
That's
boomstick as
right.
well. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
good. And
That's
Bruce
brilliant.
Campbell hams it up to a T in it. It's so
Oh,
good.
he's so good.
Yeah.
And he's been in. I think he's been. Has Bruce Campbell been in every single Sam Raimi film?
I think
Right?
so. I think he's the John
He, he,
Ratzenberger.
he appears in a wee cameo.
Mm-hmm.
He's certainly been in all the Spider-Man movies.
He has, yeah.
Drag Me to Hell. I think he was in it as well, probably.
Maybe.
Remember that one?
He was
That was a fun
certainly
film as well. Actually.
he was in Xena Warrior Princess as well, and I'm pretty sure he was in Hercules as well, which is also Sam Raimi.
All right, okay.
So yeah, but probably isn't everything. Yeah.
So yeah, great fun, gory, great for the time anyway. Kind of
the first one's
special
really
effects.
dark, and then as it gets on, it lightens up as well though. So it's not the second and third ones are gory, but they're not. But they're done with like kind of tongue in cheek more than the first one. The first one's very very violent,
The
like kind
first
of
one's
shocky.
violent and gory, but it's also unique. I think in that genre, there's something unique about it that he's tapped into. But so next one would be Dirty Harry. I know there's more than 3 Dirty Harry films, but bloody hell, they were good. They were
really good. Yeah,
Clint Eastwood's fantastic in them.
Yeah, Brad Dourif as well plays the first Psycho.
Yeah, in the school bus.
Row your boat. Sing!
Oh my god! Try to calm them down. It's horrible.
Sing! I love that.
That is horrible.
He's got the broken nose as well when he's doing it. It just looks like a maniac. Brad Dourif, by the way, is an unsung hero in acting. As far as I'm concerned, the guy's amazing.
Your memory for actors is phenomenal. Unless that's wrong, everyone.
No, it's Brad Dourif. I'm telling you. I'm going to look it up just now, but you keep talking.
Is it the third one Sudden Impact in that trilogy?
Maybe the fifth one. I'm not sure.
God. If that's the case, then I've buggered up. But yeah, I just always remember the character of Harry Callaghan or Callaghan. Is just such a great character, and he's just so badass in it. Always, he's the kind of first cop.
It's Andrew Robinson. I always get those two mixed up together. It's not Brad Dourif. It's Andrew Robinson, who is also a great actor and played Garrick and Just a Simple Tailor in Deep Space Nine, and he was good in that as well. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and he always for some reason his police chief always says to him, "Hand me your badge."
Yeah, give me a badge and your gun.
He cracks on anyway, every bloody time. But they're great films. Love them.
Yeah, great movies. Dirty Harry series.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh no, I've lost my list. Oh no. So
I can
I'm
send you a
on
copy.
number 7 now.
Okay.
Don't spoil it. Number 7, I'm going with
That's good.
we did. God, it's hard.
Do you know, the
I'm
funny thing
going
is
with.
that people think that we're actually in a separate room, but we're actually sitting together.
It's weird, isn't it? Right, okay, I'm going with so hard. Steady Tiger.
It's not just laughing the fact you never put it in order, and yet you're obsessed with putting it in order. When you, as soon as you've got a camera pointed in front of you, you're like, I should put this in order.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it really?
Not really. I mean,
Right,
I would
okay.
keep the one that you think's number one.
Well, I'll go for the one. I'll go for the one that you forgot. Die Hard.
Unbelievable. It's
Hans
probably.
Gruber, the one that you mention every single week.
But here's the problem I have with top tens is you can't have a top 10. You can't just go like, oh, I'm just going to knock this one out. Because the other one I had as well, bubbling under, was, I know I keep quoting Die Hard as well, was the Bourne trilogy.
Oh yeah.
It's a great series of movies as well.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, Die Hard. The second one's a bit,
Second one's ropey.
Third one is amazing.
Third one is brilliant with Sam. It's a good kind of buddy movie, almost. First one's obviously classic.
Yeah.
With Alan Rickman.
Christmas movie as well.
Christmas movie, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce Willis in his first action hero role.
Yeah.
Spoke about this before,
yeah.
but
single-handedly kickstarted his career.
yeah,
Something that Nadine was not going to do for him.
yeah. Crawling through vents, and you, like you said as well, it's kind of a buddy movie as well because of the cop that's talking to him on the ground, which I'd never actually thought about before. It is a kind of buddy movie, a little bit. Never thought of that before. Second one at the airport and all that. Nah,
they
really,
tried to do the buddy thing again, but
something lacked. But then the third one was it Die Hard with a Vengeance. That was called.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
That was borderline perfect. That movie.
It's the one where he wakes up with a hangover and his day doesn't get better.
Yeah. That's a great movie. So then I'm going to go. I'm going to go Captain America. Marvel.
Okay. Right. That's a good one.
I think those movies are fantastic. I think actually all three of those are perfect. Out of all the trilogies we've said, I don't think there's a bad one in those three movies.
Yeah. I mean, Captain America, the first Avenger, which apparently is now non-canon because What's-Her-Face is the first Avenger, so... but you still can't take away from the fact that he's the first Avenger.
Who's the first Avenger?
What's-Her-Face? Captain Marvel. Yeah.
No, but technically...
I know people say that she's the first Avenger because he got the idea for the Avengers Initiative from her. Because her name's Avenger.
Right, okay.
So she's the first one.
So is this one of these fan things that people are getting nerdy about?
I think so. Yeah.
Actually, the first Avenger.
Kind of stuff, yeah, I'm pretty sure a guy that was born in 1930, whatever it was, is the first Avenger. I mean, chronologically,
yeah,
he's the first
because
Avenger.
she never appeared until
1970s, whenever it was.
No,
80s.
Was it the 80s or?
Yeah.
Oh, was it 90s? It was set in, was it not?
Yeah, but she'd been away for like 10 years or something.
But she wasn't a superhero at that point. She was just a fighter pilot or whatever she was. Yeah. So it was the 90s. So technically, well, I'd disagree. Anyway, I think all three of those movies are perfect.
Winter Soldier is probably one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Oh, phenomenal! And you could argue that, and I wouldn't argue against it, that Civil War was an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
America Civil War.
So when you said 3, I was like, what's this? And I was like, okay, yeah, it's going to be Civil War.
Captain America Civil War, but
yeah,
it feels like an Avengers movie. That.
Yeah, because I mean, mostly everybody's in it.
Yeah, totally.
Even Hawkeye.
What a great! I mean, honestly, brilliant trilogy. I should have put it higher.
I screwed up.
How
does it feel?
I know. I've got another. I've got another Iron Man. I've got another Marvel. Spoilers.
Oh dear.
I've got another Marvel one here.
Is it Iron Man?
Yes. Yeah, it is. In fact, I should have put Captain America. I've not got them in order, but anyway, Captain America would probably come before that. But
yeah.
Iron Man, I love Iron Man. I love the first one. Second one's okay. Third one's magic, I think, as well. Dead entertaining. I love the character.
I like the second one.
You know,
with what's his face, Mickey 9.5 Weeks
Rourke.
Yeah, I think he's really good.
Aye, yeah, it's it's decent. I really like the third one. I love the first one, but I think as a trilogy, I think it's fantastic. I like it. Where are we going to go now? We're going to go Lord of the Rings. No, not a fan.
I'm not. No, I was who was I talking? Was I talking to you about this? About
last week?
I can't remember who I was talking to, but it was on Skype anyway. I mean, it could have been anyone, because that's all we ever do is now talk to people on Skype. But I realized a few years ago I'm not a fantasy fan. I don't seek out fantasy movies.
Oh, it was me.
Oh, was you? Okay. Okay. Did I mention it in the podcast?
I think
I may have mentioned in the podcast. Yeah. Like fantasy movies for me kind of end with Krull. That was my kind of peak fantasy thing. I'm like, all right, I'm done now. And ever since then, it's been.
That was a kind of sci-fi fantasy, so that wasn't. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
I love Lord of the Rings. I loved it when it first came out. It kind of blew my mind how epic it was, and then the second one, the Twin Towers.
Nope.
Not the Two Towers. It's
Two Towers.
Twin
I think it's Two Towers.
Oh.
No, it's not it's definitely not the Twin Towers.
The Two Towers.
That
the Twin Towers. I always get them mixed up. Aye.
It's the Two Towers.
With Gollum in it. That scene with Gollum when he's talking to himself.
The Two Towers.
When
Jar Jar Binks, good. Yeah.
When Jar Jar Binks was cited as the first CGI, you got to start somewhere, obviously, right? CGI character, right? But when Gollum is talking to himself in that moment, being directed by Peter Jackson for that script, is just mind blowing.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Jar Jar had been doing the same thing? Misa, bring down the Republic. No, Misa, no wanna bring down Republic. No, Misa, think it good.
Yeah.
Please send letters to.
I don't need to imagine it now. Thanks for that. Okay, my next one, I'm gonna go to Toy Story. You've done it already.
I've done it already. Yeah.
We'll skip that. Then I'm gonna go Back to the Future, which you've done already. Then I'm gonna go Indiana Jones, which you've done already. Then I'm gonna go Star Wars,
which I've done already.
I think that's me.
And that's it.
Hey.
So basically, Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Back to the Future are the best trilogies ever, and those all happened when we were children.
Yeah.
Okay. So just so we're clear. And so cinema has not moved on. trilogy-wise, anyway. I don't think it has. I think that there's kind of a magic lost in it. Like when we were kids, we would look forward to these things coming out every summer, and it'd be like, oh, there's a new Star Wars movie coming out, or oh, there's Back to the Future 2's coming out, or I mean, they kind of signaled it as well. The fact it was a trilogy when at the end of Back to the Future 1 it said to be continued.
Well, we're only talking about trilogies here, though.
No, I know.
Movie-wise, for kids and stuff, I think movies for kids have rocketed.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
the kids' movies and
yeah.
sci-fi and all that
I
are
think so.
just off the scale. But
Yeah.
classic trilogies, yeah. And I'm surprised because do you know what it is though? They keep remaking stuff.
Yeah.
So you've got Star Wars, but you've got like kind of a remake of what's gone before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Spider-Man. God, we're on our third iteration now in movies of Spider-Man.
Yeah. Please, no more Spider-Man after this one. Okay. Tom Holland's doing a great job. Keep him around for a few years, and then stop making them. Please.
And we can have a new trilogy to like.
Please stop making Spider-Man movies. Apparently, there's a new what do you call those? The Silver Surfer guys, the Fantastic Four coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I know. I think Silver Surfer might be introduced into the new Thor.
Oh, really?
I've heard rumours.
Oh, that's interesting.
Rumblings.
Oh. What about what's his face? Is it John Warlock? The golden guy. He was kind of hinted at in Guardians of the Galaxy. What's his name? It's not Warlock. Is it Warlock? I can't remember now. Oh. Anyway, he's hinted at in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think. So maybe he'll be in 3. Although who knows when all these movies are going to kick back on again.
Yeah.
And we're getting a Batman reboot, so yay.
Yeah. There's a movie I was like, Ghostbusters as well. There's that coming. Yep. That's going to be the true third movie.
Apparently, yeah.
So that's going to be the true trilogy movie.
Yeah, that's going to be the third movie in the Ghostbusters trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Which the ladies one was an offshoot.
Yes. So which I have a feeling might be one and done.
What, the new one?
No, the all-female reboot of Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's one and done, definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I'm looking forward to the new one.
Yeah, right. I am as well. I think it'd be good. That's the Finn Wolfhard one.
Yeah,
it's coming out. Yeah. Yarp. Yeah, it looks good. Yarp. Narp. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the top 10. Let's just go through down the list again of the top 10 trilogies of all time. It's basically Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Back to the Future. So anything that George Lucas or Steven Spielberg touched in the 80s is good, and everything else is terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, we should do top 10. We should do a top 5 worst Steven Spielberg movies.
Like top 5 worst.
Five is the not so bad, and then 1 is the worst. I can name 1 that I won't even watch.
What?
War Horse.
Oh God!
You could not pull me out of the horse box to watch that.
You seen it though?
No, I refuse to watch it.
I think you need to watch it first before you hate it.
No,
them's the rules.
It isn't. Tell you what, if it comes on Netflix, I'll watch it. I watched Ocean's 8.
Yeah.
And now you need to find out my review. So if you listen to us on Sunday on the podcast or watch the video next week when we release it, I'll talk about Ocean's 8.
You need to put a wee link to it then.
What? The podcast?
Yeah. The website. The website.
Oh yeah, put it to the website.
Yeah. Okay then.
All right. I think we'll sign off there. Thank you all for watching. and we'll catch you in the next top 10 or podcast. Bye bye.
Good evening.